Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to your check in with Gwen, a podcast that operationalizes healing. I'm teaching you how to do the mental work and build daily routines that help in the creation of your best life. Whether you're rebuilding after a rough season or chasing a dream. During our check ins, I will demonstrate how to examine wellness utilizing the five domains of health. I'm your host, Gwendolyn McLemore, and I'm very grateful that you're here. So I'm inviting you to settle in, take a breath, and land as I guide us towards a path of healing gratitude. Welcome back, everybody. We are still in the new space, no red wall. I am very, very excited. It's a sunny day. I have my flowers, and today we are going to be doing something completely different. I have opened up over the last few weeks, inviting just feedback about what this show has meant to you so far. If there were any particular topics that you wanted some insight in. And I was lucky enough to have someone volunteer that they wanted to kind of engage with me and talk about how they could use gratitude to help them on the path. I would love to share this opportunity with you all to kind of demonstrate how to take this higher level theory and just apply it to everyday life because what I'm talking about applies to all of our lives on a daily basis. And so, with that, let us check in. Well, Crystal, I don't know if you're familiar with the check ins, but I go through the five domains and I just kind of attach an emotion word with it. I'm going to add an emotions wheel to this part of the video. And so we can jump right into it. Physically, how are we today?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much. I've watched every last one of your podcast episodes, and I think I told you about my favorite one, but the last one that I watched, I had to run it back, the one on revenge. But anyway, my name is Crystal. I am a fan of your work. I think that gratitude is so important and so necessary in this day and age. So physically, I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling rested.
How about mentally? Where are you at mentally?
Mentally, I'm feeling, how am I feeling? I'm still coming off of just such a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I celebrated some of my sister's birthdays. I have so many Geminis in my family. So I'm feeling grateful, honestly, just like gratitude for all the amazing, beautiful things in my life. And I'm also feeling loved.
Beautiful. How about socially? Heard you had a big weekend.
Yeah, socially, I'm tired. My social battery has been depleted. My husband and I were. I mean, I say I'm introverted, but I know I can't identify as an introvert because I know I'm not truly an introvert. But I'd be tired if I'm like out all weekend and stuff. So I think socially, I feel full for now. So I'm like, I can take a little break and then get back to it in a week.
There you go. Okay, moderation. We love it. If
Yes.
you've been watching, you know my social areas where I faltered the most, so I get it.
Mm.
Um, I love that. And how about spiritually?
Spiritually, in this season, I have just been receiving such clear messages. I'm a, devout Christian. I go to church. I'm active in ministry. And there are just moments when I just know that God is speaking to me directly. And there's an area in my life that I had really been working on, and He just clearly told me what to do. So I'm feeling very deeply connected with my spiritual life and very grateful for the clarity that I have right now.
Um,
Thank you. I love it too.
lastly, emotionally. How are we emotionally?
Yes. Emotionally, I am. Let me see. I am. I feel like I already said excited. Um, but yeah, I feel like emotionally, I feel really happy right now. I love the sun. I love gardening. And whenever the sun comes out, I don't know, my spirits are just lifted. So I'm really, really excited for the summer. Just excited for what's happening in really all areas of my life. So yeah. And grounded. I think I'm really grounded right now. Yeah.
Came to bring the vibes. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Of course. And so out of the 0 through 10, what score? Where are we right now? Where's Crystal?
I'm pretty high right now. I mean, not high, up on the list. I'd say I'm a 9. I'm feeling really good. Yeah.
9 vibes. Okay. I love it. And thank you for sharing. These check-ins fluctuate, but I think it's important to encapsulate when we're feeling positive, right? I
Hmm.
think when we're feeling less than a 9, that physical impact in our memory, it's so potent, right? When we're not feeling well, it's so potent. And I think at times when we're feeling really, really positive, it's easy to skim past those moments. And I like to use these check-in tools to just kind of really assess, like, what does a good day feel like? What does happiness feel like? And so I love that. Your 9 sounds full of love and light and information. And thanks for sharing it with me.
Thank you.
Of course. And so I know what was on my mind as far as a theme, but I'd love to hear what brings you to check in with Gwen because this is what it's for. Like, I might have random ideas, but I'd much rather like speak about what is actually impacting people right now.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I love that check in. Just like you said, it's easy for us to gloss over when we are at a 9. So thank you for allowing me to see I'm at a 9. Yay.
I think I went up. I was giving myself like a 7. Now I might be like an 8 because you're at a 9. So thank you.
Yeah. See, we energy flowing. That's right.
Hmm.
I'm related to the 9, I my question for you is really related to how I can protect that. As somebody that grew up in a very interesting household, I know that you know, trying to gain control because there was lack of stability really became one of my things. So I feel like I operate and have operated very, very well in very chaotic situations. When the demand is super high, or when I'm like hustling to try to get something done, when I'm like juggling a whole bunch of things. But then there's moments where there's peace. And in that peace comes quiet. And sometimes there can be voices that will enter into that peace that will try to take that peace away. So, my question is, how can I fully and completely embrace the peaceful seasons? How can I honor whatever it is that might come up, whether I'm thinking about like past things that have happened, past traumas, or whatever it might be. How can I still honor the beautiful space or season that I'm in, while also creating room for whatever else might need to have like breath or voice?
Wow. That's a really, really profound question. Thank you. And as I take a few seconds to gather my thoughts, I will offer this piece to start. I just think that what you're going through is very much what's happening in the world on a larger scale, right? There is so much pain and torment
Hmm.
and activity happening. and it can almost feel wrong to find your joy and your bright spot, right? And so
Mm.
not only finding it, but then you're talking about protecting it, which is the next step. And so I just imagine so many people would relate to that, myself included. And my first honest response is like, I think that first you have to have your set of non-negotiables for your peace, right? I think that it's really easy to come up with a hard limit for suffering or a hard
Mhm.
limit for pain. It can be a lot harder to figure out this is my hard limit when it comes to peace. And an example of that, and I see her lighting up, so I want to give you a chance. Defining what makes a peaceful moment peaceful will help you understand where your parameters are. So that's the first thing. Like, why is this peace happening? What does it mean for you to be peaceful? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I feel like once you understand that, then you start to build a system around it. And so I want to offer you that question. What makes this moment peaceful in your life? How would you define peaceful?
Hmm. You know, that's so interesting. Um, because the first thing I was about to do was compare peace to non-peace. And that's the problem, right? Like we need to be able to actually envision what peace is and name it and like plan it and all of that. So I'm not gonna say what I was originally gonna say. My peace looks like having clarity in my business and seeing things that I've dreamed about manifest. Um, and good synergy between me and my team, things just like, moving in just moving period, not even in a certain direction, just like, having movement and progress. Peace also looks like my zucchini plants growing. I went out to the garden and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to take this net off of it because the leaves are just getting so big and it's so interesting. I'm just thinking about gardening right now because this is the season and I've been waiting to, like plant everything. It's so interesting to just watch like plants grow and see how quickly they grow once they get to a certain point. Same thing with locks, and I know that's super unrelated, but also kind of related. It's like once they get to a certain length, they just be growing, and you're like, when did they even get that long? So it's like there's definitely energy in the world that will just allow things to grow when they have the right conditions. So I feel like it's also calmness, like I'm able to really just have time to relax, try new hobbies. I've been, able to do a lot more reading. And also I think emotionally I've just been saying, you know what? I'm just not going to give this space, I'm not going to give this energy. So I think peace is also making the choice to be in peace.
Yes. Yes to everything. Um, I will say, my only caveat, and this is not a rebuttal or only thing I want to say in response to that is also to trust your first instinct because what you just described is 100% peace. Also, peace is the absence of conflict, right? And that's
Yeah, I was about to say lack of drama.
yeah,
Yes.
this is fine with right? And I want to encourage. The only reason I'm circling back to that is because giving the correct answer that sounds a certain way versus your natural truth, right? That's a level of disservice that you don't even have to have. Like,
Mm.
the pieces in the natural as well. And so, like, yeah, you were right on it. The absence of bullshit, that's what I would say. Like, um, I love it. I love it. And when you were describing and operationalizing your piece, right, my mind goes to executive functioning. And what
Mm,
you're describing is the steps, right? Not only you envision your plan, you take action on your plan, and then the
mm,
outcomes are going according to plan, right? And so that is a level of peace, right? Physiologically, neurologically, when you attempt to utilize your executive functions consciously and then it works out, right? That's what you're describing. And of course, you would want to protect it. I think the acknowledgement of it being temporary, right? Because that's the other thing. You spoke about it like when I have it, or
mm,
and that's exactly right, right? There will be times where life goes according to plan or
mm-hmm,
things are playing out how you intended for them to play out. And it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. I think sometimes, for myself in particular, it's when we have those outliers. When we have those outliers, then it seems like our plan was a failure. Then it seems like our effort might not have been the right effort. And I think that that all or nothing mindset kind of leads to a lot of the tension people face on a day to day basis. Myself, is what I'm talking about. When it comes to peace, I feel as though you acknowledging that there are certain areas of life where you have expected outcomes, like work, right? Or like relationships. And those expected outcomes come with a lot of pressure because we are trying to deal and control things that don't belong to us. And we have a very small part in it. And it's funny because you highlighted that part, but then in contrast, you talked about the plants. And the plants is the same, it's the same line of thinking of what I just said. You have your plan, you put in your nutrients, you do the plan, and then it just takes on a life of its own and it grows. And the peace comes in with the thought of my work, my planting these seeds went according to plan. My starting my locks went according to plan. And so that peace comes from the idea of like my effort ends up in the outcome that I wanted. And I think a big feeling of unhappiness comes from wasted effort or comes from a non-intended outcome. And I think that that anger and that frustration and that big emotional moment when your outcome doesn't match up with what you intended, I think that's where the unhappiness comes from. And I think that when you are trying to protect your peace and what you've grown, if you can hold that this is a temporary win, this is a temporary win, and I am very blessed in this moment, and I get to enjoy this moment. And once this moment changes, it's not a shortcoming on my end. It is not an emergency. Following? Does that resonate?
yes. And thank you. This is so insightful. Say I have been planning and planning to just experience like true relaxation. Maybe I'm planning to travel. And, this is something that I've just really, really, really been wanting to do, but life is life in. Um, how how could I also honor that? Like how can I be in the moment? How can I commit to making the most of whatever it is that I have worked so hard to experience?
Go day by day. And if you get really good at going day by day, you go moment by moment, hour by hour. And what I mean is that I would imagine that all of that effort, you had a visualized outcome, right, of what success looks like. And I would hope that being willing to give yourself permission to let the plan grow, to let that chapter expand past your endpoint, right? I feel like that's a way to find peace. I feel as though I would just focus on allowing myself to be surprised by life,
Mm,
right? And that's the beauty of it. I think that people want to get to a point where surprises from life feel safe. It's like when we get thrown off, even if we've seen it coming, when we get thrown off, most of the time it feels unsafe. Most of the time our peace feels in jeopardy. because our plan is not going to the desired outcome. And I would hope that you could do enough regulating on a physical, on a spiritual level, that when these balls come, you get the chance to just accept the surprise from life. Because that's what it is. Life is full of surprises and expectations. Surprises and expectations. I think if you don't hold tightly to either, you get to be very present and enjoy. And so, yeah, I would focus if you were traveling and taking a trip, I would focus on getting to your destination safely. I would
Figuring
focus
out the
on what were
focus, like
your
how
main
to
itinerary goals
focus
for yourself,
on
and then allow the rest of your time to be filled with
that
life
in that
surprises.
situation, like, the getting to the destination, sticking to the itinerary in case I get like a work email or I get like a text or something. Like how what are like the, I don't know if there's like physical executive functioning things I can do, or like, one of my friends told me about how she'll like when she really needs to reset, she'll just throw water on her face, and it kind of just disrupts, whatever she was thinking about. And in working out, like there are some workouts that I do where I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm only thinking about like trying to make sure I'm landing in this squat right so I won't hurt my knee. So like how when I'm trying to enjoy a moment, trying to enjoy an experience, and something is trying to creep in, like what do I do?
Go to the traditional, this is something from CBT and psychotherapy, but this is when I would tap on my senses, right? In that scenario you just described, I would do an exercise called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you count down. What are 5 things that I'm visually seeing? What are 4 things that I can hear? What are 3 smells that I'm smelling? Right? What are 2 things that I can touch? What is 1 thing that I can taste? And so that exercise, right? And it's not strict. You can change the numbers to whatever sense that you want, right? If you're in a very visually, I'm sorry, if you're in a very olfactory, like if you're in a place with a lot of smells, it might be what are 5 different things I can smell. It doesn't have to be 5 things I can see. That part is interchangeable. But that's when I, like you said, I try to ground myself. I think our mind can run away from us, especially if the mind body connection is broken. And so if I feel like my mind is running away from me because I feel myself getting physically dysregulated, I would try to bring myself physically back to earth. And so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is a great exercise, and you can do it without saying a word. You can do it without getting up. You can do it sitting down. Um, that's one way, as far as like just a tangible exercise. And then the other way is that whatever skills that you use or whatever tools you use for organization right now, translate those tools to leisure, right? And so I am a alarm and calendar girly. And so that means I'm going to use those alarm and calendars not for work related things, but for leisure related things. Okay, my alarm's going off. It's time for me to get up and smell the flowers. Like that's what this alarm is for. It's just to smell the roses, literally. Right? Same thing. I think if you are a person with a lot of responsibilities, you can do time blocking and you schedule your time for work and you adhere to it. Maybe you bring someone around you to help you adhere to it. Like, hey, if you see me bring out my work phone, pinch me or something.
My sister is an accountability partner. She would be like, Crystal, you said that you were going to be done. And I
Repurpose
love
your
the
toolbox to be
like
geared towards
using the
relaxation.
tools that I already use to like schedule relaxation. I used to, it's so funny that you said that because I used to have this super cute, oh, it's still in my office, this super cute hourglass that's like pink. And I think it's like 30 minutes. So I used to flip it over, and every time all the sand would go down, I would be like, okay, it's time for me to get up and walk around, even if it's to, just go get some water.
My big one is like give myself permission internally, externally, right? At times, peace can feel like not having obligation, right? Or pressure. That's a real gift to not have any pressing obligations at this time. And so giving yourself permission to acknowledge obligations exist and still to choose peace and relaxation. Like, I'm someone that has to give myself permission to choose a break, to choose relaxation. I know that these things are outstanding, and I am not any less of a person for having an outstanding to-do list. I still get to choose my peace and my happiness, or whatever I want to choose. I get to choose my break, and I'm allowed to. That's the other thing. Um, so yeah, work on giving yourself permission. Like, and I'm a big fan of mantras as well. And so, to your point, another tool that you could use is a mantra. There's stillness is safety
Every time I
is
watch
a
the
really
podcast,
good
I'm like, oh, let me do my check in and ask myself how I'm doing. So thank you for just encouraging me to
mantra.
do that, and also teaching me how to intentionally preserve that piece. Because just like you said, we can't control what happens, but we can control how we react to it. This world, it's not just peace all the time. But I want to just honor, especially when I've put in the work to create, a peaceful experience, and I'm supposed to really, be checking out from work and things like that. I want to enjoy that, and I love the 5 4 3 2 1, the scheduling, the uh, just reminders to be present and check in with myself physically to ground myself. Thank you. I have so much gratitude for you.
Thank you for checking in. Honestly, that is my check-in tip for the day. I would love to hold more space for my listeners. I just appreciate you guys going on this healing journey with me, because that's what this is. I'm trying to demonstrate that there is a system that you can build, right? It's not just internal work, like there are actual tangible steps you can take to get towards the life that you want. But we already have all the tools. If you come in with gratitude, if you come in with your breath and a desire to be healthier, then you're already on the path. And so I would just like to thank you for taking the time to check in with me. Please remember to check in on yourself, continue to check in with strangers and loved ones. And I will be here to check in with you next week. And so thank you, Crystal, for joining. Thank you all for listening. If you guys find these check-ins useful, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We are here. We are here doing the damn thing, and y'all are locked in with us. Till next time, with gratitude always, Gwen.